My name is G. Satish. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Connixt.
My name is Prabhu Ekambaram, CTO and co-founder at Connixt.
And boy, this has been a great journey for us for 10 years. So let's talk some more about this, Prabhu.
Whenever we go out with family, when a train goes by or a bus goes by, I tell to my son, here is the train that gets inspected using our product.
So let me do you one better on that, Prabhu. So when we drive out there, any truck out there, rail cars, the first question that my wife throws at me is, are you guys doing business with them? Why are you not? This has been happening more frequently than you can imagine. So I dread seeing more trucks or rail cars or pretty much any equipment out on the roads.
And now I have stopped telling it, right? Because I have told too much, so I thought I was annoying. So I stopped telling it very recently. My son goes to college, he's in first year. He asked, so these trains are still getting inspected using your app? I said, yeah, I don't want to annoy you. So yes. So
something to be proud of. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, all of our videos have been about product releases, product direction, customer success, and so on. But this time, a decade in the software business doing what we do and with delighted customers felt like as good a time as any to take a look back and look forward to. So that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, we want to talk about our success stories. We started with a vision, we stuck to it, and we made sure that happens.
And not so much of as a victory lap, because I know you and I don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a good milestone, a marker in the journey that any software company will take. Let's talk a bit about our, where we started. So clearly, we met in that Starbucks on a warm, afternoon one day.
And we sat outside.
We sat outside. It was warm enough, and that worked well.
Yeah.
And I think to those interested, we actually have an entire blog that talks about the Connixt origin story. I'd encourage you to go and take a look at it. It covers a lot of ground. But one thing that struck me even back then was that aside from discussions about product, direction, feature functionality, resourcing, and all of that, we spent a lot of time talking about core guiding principles or core values for the business.
Yes.
And I know this is kind of a recurring theme for us. So talk a little bit more about that, Prabhu, because I know you had some very strong views about the product and what it should do and should not.
Yes. With our experience, we knew what not to do. That's the key. We started with that. And there were, again, like Satish mentioned, we had some core guidelines there. Cost to customer is low. Mm-hmm. Extend and augment, like coexist in the customer's environment. Point of failures for the product should be as low as possible. Mm-hmm. So less moving parts. And last but not the least, open architecture. So that we come up with a product that is going back to simple to use, easy to implement, smarter enough so that it can talk to any system out there.
So I should give you full credit to the smarter, simpler, faster tagline on the logo, and we really meant it.
Yes.
And to me, one of the guiding principles has always been, in the history of software industry, no user has ever complained that, hey, this software is too easy to use, make it more difficult.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is it has not changed since we actually put it up. So those guiding principles haven't really changed for us.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the challenges we faced. So all businesses, all startups, there's a ton of material about the challenges they face, and my belief is every business, no matter the scale and the size, they face those same challenges of money, time, and resources. So I don't want to talk about those. There's enough about that out there. What is more interesting is some of the other more nuanced challenges we face. So for example, one is what we call the challenge of no. Mm-hmm. So talk about that, Prabhu, because I know you have some very strong opinions on that too. So please, let's talk about that. It'll be very interesting to explore that.
Yeah. So when there is no value add, when we are presenting our product, we would like to walk away from the opportunity itself. We are walking away from money. We are
yeah.
walking away from money on the table, which means, it's a big thing as a startup, right? So having said that, that is one thing from the business side of it. From the technology side of it, right? Product design and technology side of it, we don't wanted to do anything for the sake of technology, because we were pulled into certain areas where just for the sake of technology we wanted to do it, but not to do it, stick to the vision, and then stay with the product roadmap itself was also a big thing. Last but not the least, we made sure that adding a customer does not require adding resources to the organization. So that was one of the other key aspects. So we had that in mind, and that was always a challenge, but again, we did it. We made it happen.
So to sort of extend from that, Prabhu, this really talks about two areas, right?
Yeah.
One, stay true to sort of the basic principles by which we operate. So one thing, for example, we've always discussed, and we still maintain to this day, there is no quick and dirty stuff.
Exactly.
There is no throwaway work we do just to convince a prospect or a customer that this is going to work.
Yep.
In other words, we never sell half a steering wheel.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing. And the second is going to the other aspect that you talked about. This cannot be band-aid, where adding a customer cannot mean, a tremendous pressure on adding more bodies to fix problems. So it cannot be, things running on band-aid and cut and paste. What that really means is then a truly scalable platform.
Correct.
That is configurable, that has the templates and so on. So it is not custom for every customer that we have out there.
Exactly. When it comes to standardization of the product itself, when there is a requirement that is coming from the customer, we always took enough time to decide whether it's going to be a standard product or it is so unique that the customer, that specific customer needs it. So that is the reason why we have one single code base across verticals, across customers, and across platform, and it is basically simple and easy to implement.
So I think that again is the other part to this, which is make it rapid deployment, and it goes back to the core principle of make it affordable and easy and delivers high value to the customer. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So to start with, day one, we knew we have to coexist in the current environment. So we decided right from day one it's going to be a cloud mobile technology. That we were very clear. But from the business side of it, we started with procure to pay, from purchase order to invoice. But later we found out that those use cases were not strong enough, or the ROI on those use cases was not enough. So we shifted to field workforce management or asset maintenance, equipment maintenance, which really had the requirement for mobilification basically.
But from from a technology standpoint, I know we added modules, and then there was static, and then it moved from that.
Correct.
So I think those things have been significant, I think, in terms of product evolution and all of that. But beyond this, I think one of the things that we are clearly seeing these days is what we call this organic movement.
Organic growth, yeah.
So where the customer is basically pulling us, the functionality basically is pulling us, and right now the direction we are going towards is more of core asset maintenance, inventory, warehousing.
Yeah.
So all of these add-on things happen because there is an organic pull in that direction.
Yeah.
We're not trying to take two disparate things and trying to fit it together and telling somebody that, hey, you should use this.
Yeah. Basically, it is like we started with digitization, converting papers to mobile, and then in association with that came the equipment maintenance itself, parts consumed, and then labor consumed, and then we went into, now we are going into procurement and other modules.
So I think again, this is, if you talk about product evolution, it truly has been an evolution.
Yes,
it has not been where we have tried to stick on new things and trying to get there.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the path traveled thus far, but where do you think you're going next, Prabhu? So let's talk from a product standpoint.
Nothing has changed so far. We are sticking to our core principles, where it's simple and easy to implement and use, and we go back to that simpler, faster, smarter. So we are still sticking to our same core values that we had.
So what you're saying is that tagline actually means something even.
Yes, it does, and we want to stick to it. We want to be true to our vision, and we want to make sure our customers benefit out of it.
So, and what I might add here is, again, this goes back to what I said, right? Why do customers buy products like ours? We have never lost sight of the fact that it has to make life easy for the end user.
Yes.
It should not need a manual to actually use a product like ours. There is no necessity.
Yeah.
And we'll talk products out of the B2C market. When is the last time someone downloaded an app for which they needed a manual?
True. True.
So this has to be no different.
Very
so
true.
I think we've stayed true to that, and that I think is one of the biggest things.
But having said that, we were adding modules, adding features, functionalities to the product. That we have been doing all along, but the base design, the core values, we always stuck to it.
So one thing which I like to talk about, and we both come from strong enterprise software background worlds, and we understand how that works. So one thing we really are proud about is if a user wanted to get to a particular screen,
Yeah.
shouldn't take more than 2 taps on the mobile.
Yeah. 2 to 3 clicks. Yes.
2 or 3 clicks on the web.
Yes.
This is really core, and this has really been a guiding principle for a lot of the design, and it may sound trivial, but again, let's be clear why somebody buys a product like us. Why do they use a product like this? Make life easy, shouldn't need a manual and a tutor to actually get you up and running.
Exactly, and it goes back to empowering the user, right? Unless the user likes the product, you do whatever with the product, it's of no use actually. So end user should like it.
Yep.
End of the day. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about lessons learned, right? I think there is tons of them we have learned, but let's maybe pick on one that Prabhu you feel has been a big part of what we've learned.
Lessons learned. It goes back to what I was discussing earlier. Not doing anything in the product just for the sake of technology, but unless there is a value add for a customer or for a use case. So that was in fact, that was the toughest challenge, to stay away from technology unless there is a value add.
And I think just leading off on that, and that's one reason why, again, it is a single version of the product that is out there.
Exactly.
As opposed to, I think, a number of enterprise software businesses where they end up with 6 versions of the product running at 5 customers.
Correct. Having said that, the product is flexible enough to talk to any external system out there. It goes back to our open architecture. But at the same time, we don't introduce any technology just for the sake of technology. We'll talk about AI a little bit further, but again, we have not done just for the sake of technology.
To me, just to tack on to that, right, I think the biggest lesson really has been, and actually when we reflect, I think staying true to those basic principles of why we start the business, maintain the vision, that is important. And the startup world is replete with all these stories about pivots and changes and all of that. And all of that should be a part of any business because you're reacting to market forces, things on which you have no control frequently. But staying true to why we are actually running the business, and for instance, no throwaway work, no half-working product. This is super critical. It not only feels good, that's clearly there. But I think it is good business for running the business.
Yeah.
It assists in maintaining the product well. It helps the customers. It helps in delivering continual value to the customer. I think this is important. So my one takeaway really has been that don't stray too far from the original vision. Make changes, features, all of those other things can happen, but not the core value.
Exactly, because all these things leads to user experience.
Yes.
Which is the key aspect of our product.
And to me, final thing, and again, somewhere out on LinkedIn, I know there is a blog that I wrote about this. That really is what builds long-term brand value and trust with customers.
Yes.
That they know that if this is a Connixt product, it will do exactly what they say it will do, and nothing more.
Exactly.
And
goes back
less.
to what is promised and what is delivered, right?
Yep.
We don't promise anything that we cannot deliver. Integrity, it comes into integrity, and all these things play together.
Yep. From your perspective, Prabhu, again, product-wise, right? let's talk a bit about what the future holds for us. What do you
Okay.
think? Where do you think we're going?
We are coming out with iBot Maintenance Assistant, which relies on AI framework. In fact, talking about iBot itself or AI framework itself, we took at least more than a year to come up with 5, 6, 7 use cases based on which we build. Again, it goes back to the saying, the thing that we discussed, where we don't do for the sake of technology, but we do it unless we don't do it unless there is a value add. So we came up with 5, 6 use cases, and we are coming out with iBot Maintenance Assistant, which will help the users to do their day-to-day job. In addition to it, there is some organic growth into the product where we are adding some modules related to inventory, procurement, and we are also thinking of coming up with scheduling. Again, all these things we don't do just like that. We talk to our customers, we bounce ideas, we have set of customers where we go over our product roadmap, and then we rely on organic growth.
So again, in other words, this is not build it and they will come.
Yeah.
We really anchor this in specific use cases and things that can be used by our customers today.
Yeah.
So whether it is this automated multilingual support or diagnostic, queries and
Or duplicate detection.
pattern recognition.
All
of these are areas where it is direct applicability on daily life for somebody out in the crew using the product.
Yep.
I think
like a maintenance mechanic can ask a question and he gets questions answered.
Yeah, and that can be from either within the company's own database, from the OEM, from the whole wide world, and they can basically all configurable too.
Yes.
It can come from anywhere.
Yes.
So in other words, again, I'm going back to this, right? So this is driven by customers. We're not doing the technology for the sake of technology, and we are trying to make sure that there is an actual daily ready use case that can be implemented right away. The last thing I will actually add to this, Prabhu, as you know, in most of our presentations, we are proud of the fact, and we actually say this, that this is a product sold in the warehouses, in the maintenance shops, out in the yards, and not in the boardrooms. So funny stories, interactions with clients. So you know who I'm talking about. So this is sort of still vivid in my mind. So Prabhu and I show up at this client's office, as we've been doing. They're already a customer. They're signed up with us. They've expanded more. And this executive asks us, "How come you're the only two guys I keep meeting over and over again? Do you have anybody else working for you guys?" That was an interesting question.
Yeah.
And then of course we said, no, there's a whole team, but the idea is that we want you guys to feel like you're the only customer we have.
Yeah.
He laughed at it, we laughed about it, and I still laugh about it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, Prabhu, I mean, the takeaway from this is really, we're still trying to do that with a lot of our customers.
Yes, it goes back to customer delight, right?
Right.
It's as simple as that.
So we still want every customer to think that they are the only customer we have.
Yes.
And this is not cliched. I know how this sounds, but we try to live by that, and that's something we stick by.
Yeah.
And I'm also proud of saying that almost all our customers have your cell number and my cell number.
Yes, we give our cell numbers, yes.
And they can call.
Yes.
So that's there, and we'll respond.
Yeah.
So that's there. But the other funny story about that I can also recount to is very recent, is the how much Prabhu agonized about doing this video.
No, even this video.
Right.
Man, I was stressed to the core because I'm not a video guy. I like taking photographs. In my travels, I take thousands of photographs, but I want to be on the other side of the camera, not in front of the camera. But
so in other words, I mean, this is the guy who actually does the work. I talk about it, so I'm glad that you actually got it here. So this is good.
No, we both do the work.
This is good. This is good. So Prabhu, we've known each other 25 years now?
25 years, yes.
25 years and going.
Oh, even before that, actually.
Oh, I actually
in old days.
Yep.
I don't want to.
A little bit earlier than that.
Yes.
So, Yep. So we come from the same part of the world, and but we really have we met here, and this is how we've grown our business. So I like to think there is maybe a certain shorthand in which we can communicate.
Yeah.
I think the other funny story related to that is I think both our families will probably accuse us of talking to each other more than we talk to them on any given day.
True.
I think this happens.
True.
So I think it is easy, but I think the common factor here is that our commitment to making sure we deliver and we don't sort of say things that we can't do and all that. I think those are primarily the things that actually bring us together, at least at this point.
Yes, and also just to add to it, frequency matches between us.
Yep.
We understand each other. We know each other's strength and weakness.
Yeah. So there's healthy respect for each other. So I'm never going to question technology choices that Prabhu makes, and he understands about some choices we make. And yeah, we stumble a couple of times, but we know it comes from best efforts. So
Correct.
I think we move on. So,
True.
So,
One quick repeat on that. We agree to disagree. We agree to disagree on things. Most of the things we agree, but very less we disagree.
I agree on that too. And where we don't, we basically support whatever is the decision made. I think,
Yes.
knock on wood, that works well.
Yes.
I think safe
It
to
goes
say.
back to our hobbies.
Hobbies. So the one common hobby which we both have is a love for movies.
Yes.
It's I don't even call it a guilty pleasure. I mean, it is a genuine pleasure for us. And
Yes, it is.
live in SoCal. I mean, why not? And I think the other common bond for us is this Indian actor that I think people should Google if you don't know this guy, Rajnikant.
Superstar.
He's called the superstar in India. I mean, there's only one. And I can tell you this honestly: the one thing we could never agree to disagree on is on that guy.
Yeah.
And if we had actually disagreed, I have no idea what product direction Connixt may have taken that much. That much I'm sure.
True.
That much
Yes,
I'm sure.
yes,
That much
yes.
I'm sure.
I love travel. I travel a lot. I go on trips, 3-week trips. In fact, I have driven all the way to Whistler, Canada, and drove back. So I like driving. So I like travel.
So for me, it's things I like to do outside of work. Movies for sure. Also like to travel. I like to travel to new places. I mean, clearly, there's a lot of pleasure we get in that. I like to read, and someday I hope to write more. But 3 things which I enjoy really at this point.
That's one thing I like. I don't like to read. I like to watch a lot.
So there you are. So
I'm just being true. I don't know. I seriously don't know. We love this so much. I really can't think of anything else.
I honestly, I have to second that, and it might sound a bit again trite or cliched, but it's hard to think outside of professionally what else we'd be doing.
Yeah.
For sure, as I wouldn't become a brain surgeon. That much I know.
Yeah.
The one thing I know both Prabhu and I share, and this is this restlessness that we always have about wanting to try something different, try something
Yes.
new
And try something on our own.
on our own. So that is especially important because we want to have control on what is promised and what is delivered.
Yeah.
That is truly liberating.
Yes, it is.
It is truly liberating that we are focused on the one thing that matters to both of us on any given day, which is making sure that the product does what it is supposed to do.
Yeah. One occasion when a customer comes and tells, guys, you make our life easy.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. That feeling, you cannot beat that feeling.
And this is, in all honesty, the number of times this comes in almost as a throwaway phrase from customers during meetings, during project reviews or anything. If we recorded all of that, we'd have hours and hours of testimonials in there, but these are unscripted moments that come from the customer
Yeah.
in the course of conversations.
Correct.
And I think that truly, makes a difference for us because end of the day, we own those successes.
Correct.
And if there is any slips, we own those too. I think we are good about those things. So I think, honest answer, what else would you be doing? I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it is not something 9 to 5. That much I can be sure. So who do we thank for as we look at, I guess for a lot of us, it's been a substantial journey, and certainly for both of us, 10 years now. First and foremost, I think safe to say family, because I think they have borne the brunt of all the hills and the valleys that we've gone through, and I think clearly we owe them a lot. Certainly to our customers, and as you have repeatedly said, it's not just the contract or just not the value of those contracts. It's, I think, the validation we get.
Yeah.
And yes, we do need validation. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So I think we gain from our customers I think that is critical, and certainly our employees and the folks that trusted our names and, were our early investors and stakeholders in the business.
Yeah.
So, do you want to add anything to that, Prabhu?
Yeah, I second that actually. Friends, family, and customers. That's the key. Now, why family? We have spent a lot of days traveling,
Oh yeah.
lot of burning midnight oil
Oh yeah.
in the beginning stages until we got the product to a level, right? So it's friends and family. On top of it, customers. We thank our customers a lot.
So that's essentially what Connixt is all about. We want to thank you guys for taking a few minutes to listen to this.
Yep.
Again, visit our website. There's some interesting stuff on the blogs and things. Thank you.